the gate swinging, and not really swinging in terms of crushing their opponents, but more so swinging as in surviving the initial laning stage and not being too beat down. There is that potential if the Pudge gets an early decent start and echoes on this Primal Beast. We've seen him do it before. If he's able to make those rotations and really smack them in, the G2.iG lineup could be struggling to just recover.
Yeah, and that is one thing on the side of G2iG's lineup is early game, they're quite squishy. Hell, even like Timbersaw doesn't have the most HP in the first few little bits, and he doesn't most likely he's not going to have much armor either unless he goes for this reactive armor build up, which I've seen a little bit of. Maybe against the Naga Siren you can make a case for. Never mind, Naga's on your team, what am I saying? Maybe against the Vengeful Spirit you can make an argument for it, but I don't think we're going to be seeing much of that reactive armor this game, just because of how much you need to put the aggression on the side of Team Aster.
Yeah, I mean, if as long as Bobaka catches you out with one stun, as long as you're near a tree here, in comes JT, he's going to be swooping in for that hit slice off. A very aggressive smoke maneuver here to start things off from G2iG. They've wrapped fully around the tier 1 tower and have went in between, but Aster, they're not really comfortable making any sort of aggressive maneuver on their side. They're just holding a fine perimeter down the center of the lane. And they're not going to get caught out here. Should be a 2-for-2 trade in terms of the runes. Nothing too crazy to start us off here as we get into game 1 of this best of 3 series. Keep in mind that we are in the lower bracket now, so in a crazy twist of fate, this new promising G2iG stack might just be knocked out by some of their old counterparts. In particular, I think Picho, old teammate of Bobaka's and Monet's, he might. This is something I always like to talk about. I think, you know, having played with someone, there's such... Each player has their own playstyle and the way they communicate, and even understanding that at a basic level, you might be able to read them a lot better than just studying their replays and stuff like that.
Look at these lanes. See, we're going for a little bit of lane shenanigans here. Monet is in the bottom lane.
Okay. I mean, it smells to me like Monet's trying to dodge the Pudge matchup. But Aster, they're privy to it. This is actually not that great of a matchup for the Naga Lion, right? They can't really do much against the Pudge.
Yeah, it's not until they get a few levels, but Pudge gets stronger with levels too, you know? As does the Venge. Level 3, I think, is going to be the big... Maybe even level 2, you can make an argument to see a lot of aggression coming out of this bottom lane, but I think level 3 is going to be the key level for both of these two lineups in this bottom lane.
Yeah, JT shouldn't be too bothered here by this matchup, but it is quite a decent bit of harass coming out from Frisk, as well as the illusions. Two ranged heroes are just going to consistently be beating into you. And, you know, like you mentioned, there might be a case for it if you're up against this much physical damage harass to get an early level in reactive, but it slows down the game that you're trying to have for yourself on the Timber.
But you might be in some trouble. No, the body blocks aren't quite there from Frisk.
No, it's close. Fine. I mean, I think he would have been in trouble if somehow the illusions managed to lock him into that corner, but he's fine right there. We'll just snap out of it. And I think, you know, what looks like an initially quiet early game is going to fully explode by like the 6-minute to 10-minute mark. Like, these teams are going to be at each other's throats, getting kills. You know, Chunks is going to be walking around trying to just hook everybody. And yeah, it's only a matter of time. Don't be deceived. This isn't a resident sleeper. This is a monster about to just burst onto the game here. Bobaka getting hooked up, still lines up a 2-man stun, which has been, you know, his real only saving grace in this lane. I feel like if he's not able to do that, he just dies.
Yeah, he definitely would have just died there if he didn't hit a 2-man stun, for sure. And that's going to be the name of the game for this bottom lane for Aster, right? Land the stun, get the hook. Land the stun, get the hook. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. Where you have a point-and-click stun as opposed to one you need to aim. It's such an easy setup for the Pudge. And this is kind of why we see maybe they're avoiding the matchup a little bit. Chunks, he can just instantly melt all the mirror image illusions with one like little toggle of Rod. And in the end, the Naga is the one taking more damage than him. So it's a little bit of a tough situation for Monet to really match up against.
To be fair, there was quite a lot of damage on the Shang-Chi there.
Yeah? Yeah, that's fair. I mean,
so,
nothing that he can't salve up from, though.
No, that's true. A few more levels, you know, into this IG lane, G2IG lane, you're going to be in a good position, I think, as long as Naga Siren doesn't die, as long as Bobaka doesn't die. You know, it should be okay-ish. Monet always
I mean,
has that possibility of going, right back into the jungle.
I kind of wonder what this means for Monet's game though, because historically we see the Naga, once you're under any threat at all in the lane, and even if you're not, you just want to be as efficient as possible, sending your mirror images into the jungle. But now that you're in the off lane, the level of accessible farm is quite low as compared to your safe lane. So we'll have to see whether it's eventually a lane swap back the other way, whether JT ends up heading back down to that off lane. For now though, both teams pretty happy with what they're getting. Top of the network, or top of the CS rather, is this Void Spirit in the mid lane. Nothing to say, doing very, very well for himself. But everyone's pretty even, right? No one's really being hampered in this early laning stage.
No, it is like very even across the board. Like, right, comparing the Arc Ward to the Naga, Primal to Timber. Yeah, it's so even.
Let's see this mid lane matchup here. I mean, nothing to say. He's eked out a small bit of an advantage, but it really feels like both these heroes don't have the particular skill set to knock each other out in the mid lane, right? It's all going to be about those rotations. We need to check in the 6-minute rune. We need to see where these TPs are used and where the rotations are coming and whether the opposing mid laner can match it. Because if you kind of sit around mid too long and maybe a Primal or Void Spirit is ganking your side lanes, they're going to start building that advantage that you don't have.
Yeah, that's gonna be the bit of the game, is these ganks. Mid lane is super important at this point to gank, and I don't think pulling supports from these side lanes to bring them to mid, unless you bring both the techies and the Lion, I don't see too much kill potential on the Primal Beast. He's just such a big tanky hero with decent escape through the Onslaught and the Trample.
Yeah, at any point in time, one TP in from one of the Aster supports is all it's going to take as well. I feel like you just, even if you caught him out way under your tower, there's so much distance that he can cover unless you're really interrupting it with some of these disables. I don't know whether they have enough gas in the tank to actually take him down 100-0.
Yeah, like it's one of those, like, you want to save your stuns for the onslaught, but you also want to initiate with your stuns to stop him from trampling all over you. So that's why I think you need to bring both the techies and the line. You need 2 stuns.
Yeah, and the second you do that, the lane is just open for Shengsi or maybe even, who knows, Erica as well as the Shadow Demon to just get aggressive, set up a kill on those remaining members in the lane. Monet, he definitely needs babysitting for at least maybe the next 3 to 5 minutes.
Yeah, we've already talked about how easy it is to get a kill in this bottom lane, right? A stun, a hook. It's as simple as that. And look at this,
the rotation. Yeah. Right before the level 6 mark as well, but I believe a ward spots him out there. They are completely aware from this, and it was a freshly placed one as well. So X-Nova, bit of premonition there, knows that, about this time is when the Primal Beast might try and come through. Top side, they try to set up on the Frizz though. Isn't really much that Erica can do to help him, which is why he's opting for the TP out. Heads up play from the Shadow Demon to avoid death.
Once again, that's the problem with just bringing one of your supports, right? Is you want to initiate with your stun, and that opens just the TP out. Until Naga Siren wants to start getting, points in the net and using the net in these lanes, which then you're ganking on the Naga Siren, feels very weird.
Bit of action here though. Stun gonna go completely wide. Is it gonna be enough damage for them to take down Picho? Looks to be at the moment. First blood finally drawn at the 6-minute mark. This is what we were expecting as Echoes still trying to get a bit of a return with the onslaught, but can't really connect onto the Lion. It's a complete mess, as now they've disrupted up Nothing to Say to stop the aggressive move onto their Primal Beast, but as the dust settles, you're still able to get the better of that trade. The first blood goal is significant even at this juncture. Nothing to Say is gonna be very happy about that.
Maybe you kill the Primal Beast there if you don't stack your stuns on the Lion techies, but that is, that'd be very close, because he had a regen rune bottled as well.
Yeah. It is, I mean, new regen, right? You were just telling me about it yesterday. It's a whole other beast, especially for these early skirmishers. It's not so much about just saving it for efficiency to min-max while farming anymore. Ooh, JT. A bit of thievery here, Frisk. Should be able to spot him out and disrupt him and take that for himself still, but whether his life still intact is another question. Quite a bit of damage going his way. Meanwhile, Monet getting killed off in this bot side. Another easy stun and hook. We talked about being left by himself, and that's exactly what they take advantage of. Meanwhile, JT commits a bit too far, tries to get the kill onto Frisk, and Echoes with a quick TP rotation punishes that Timbersaw. Both the side lane calls on IG going down here.
IG, you
Radiant's middle
are
tower is under
favored in
attack.
this slower kind of game, right? Naga Siren, the later you go, the stronger she gets, but the same could be said about the Arc Ward.
Radiant
Yeah,
are
I
scanning.
mean, it still remains to be seen what exactly the build is that Erica will be going for. For now, pretty stock standard, rushing that Midas. Just wants to amp up the farm, and they found Picho here. Trying to stick around and secure that lane, but now, with that knowledge, Shengsu is going to play a lot safer in the tree line back here. And yeah, it's a support kill, right? 2 for 2 right now. It's nothing too crazy in terms of the residual result of these kills.
But it's just a support kill, right? Venge is the only one to have died this game, where on the side of G2.iG, you've lost both your cores.
Yeah. Well, I mean, now you might lose one of your cores too. Stunned up, but the Pudge able to turn around with the Dismember, gets interrupted by the Blast Off and cut down by JT. It's actually a neutral creep kill onto the Lion, funnily enough. They've TP'd in Erica to try and respond as well. Picho, that infused range drop is going to keep him alive, and they're able to at least get the trade out onto X-Nova. JT with a double kill though. Timbersaw off to a decent start now. But oh, that's not if Echoes can say something about it. I was just about to say he's recovered after being ganked by Echoes, but it happens yet again. The Primal Beast is just all over him and tramples that poor Timbersaw down.
And Primal Beast right now on the map is the only one who can kill this Timbersaw. So it's a lot like last series where we saw the Weaver mirroring the tiny movements. It's going to be the same thing, right? You're going to be mirroring this Timbersaw movements pretty much the entire game, or at least through the early to mid game. Every single time Primal Beast is there, or every time Timbersaw is there, expect Primal Beast to be somewhere around as well.
I guess the main strange thing for me is that nothing to say, he hasn't really felt as active as Echo so far, right? He's been very content to kind of stick around in the mid lane or at least the surrounding area and play around that instead of any sort of TP rotation. And maybe that might be because G2.iG's cores don't really do the best in terms of setting up kills for themselves, right? It's really reliant on the supports. But I wonder when that's going to change, because at this rate, Echoes is just going to slowly eclipse you.
Radiant's top tower.
Yeah, I wonder what Echo's build is going to be this game. We've got, it looks like it might just be straight into BKB for Echoes.
Like it. Actually can get in there, not threatened by anything. It's really, it's not even the song, right? Because the song technically doesn't count. It just singles you out as a target. But even then, they don't really have a lot of damage that goes through the BKB. Nothing to say. Nicely done with the Remnant. Gotta steal away that Illusion Rune, but Echoes still has so much HP. I don't think they can actually get this kill, and yeah, they'll just back up.
This is the scary thing, right? Almost a 2k HP on Echoes. And now we've got the Veil done on Pudge as well. There's a lot of magical damage coming up from Aster in this early game.
Yeah, it is tricky business. Charging forward, nothing to say. His HP, where's it going? Now just narrowly manages to get away there. Almost just losing his life in an instant. If one of the two supports was able to connect with the spells, it would have been a different story. But yeah, funnily enough, it feels like Aster, they're building themselves a pretty good early game here. Shengsu has been relatively untouched. Like you mentioned, Veil completed. Looking at the Eternal Shroud next, and from there, I mean, do you see any Spirit Vessel or anything of the sort? Because I don't, and...
Nope.
I mean, Timbersaw has a lot of damage, sure, but with the regen that both Echoes and Pudge are going to enjoy, it's going to be a tough task taking them down.
And Timbersaw, he's going to mirror that build, but it looks like he's going to go for the Shiva's Guard first. Although, who knows, right? It could be anything.
Yeah. Just a balance item overall, pretty decent for the Timbersaw. Gives him some vision and allows him to potentially spot out the sneaky Erica Arc Water in the tree line. Ooh, Picho just completely disappears. Same spot. I should inform them that they have vision in the area. Allows Erica to retreat, which is what is most important here.
Gleipnir is going to be a nice big item for Erica this game.
Yeah.
It's going to be great for locking down the Timbersaw. Great for dealing with Naga Siren, all of her illusions. It's more lockdown for the Void Spirits. Very, very nice.
Yeah, overall just a well-balanced item for this hero. You can kind of send your clone in as a like low committal disable as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, more than anything, set you up for a perfect onslaught in or a perfect hook. Speaking of the setup, banishing away, nothing to say. They just get the stuns out, and it's such an easy kill, even with the Hex. They're trying to turn it around right now, but beautiful swap. That's what Picho was waiting for. He's now in a little bit of trouble, but if he has to give his life up for this, it's not that big of a deal, and he might not even have to. The hook is gonna land on an illusion, not really what Shengsu wanted, but they got what they came for initially, right? Nothing to say is down.
Yeah, exactly. And nothing to say, he's right now top of the net worth, so killing top of the net worth hero, very good.
Very good. 5 to 5 right now, less than 1k gold lead. Monet is still farming away, but same can be said about this Arc Warden. Now we're still kind of waiting to see what JT can get done here. He's just finished up that bot tier 1 tower. He's working towards the Shivas like we saw, but a lot of the emphasis in the farm is going to him clearing up these ancient stacks and these hard game stacks. So I'll see him get moving soon.
And as this game progresses later and later, like we said, I'm curious to see who's going to win this later matchup right between the Arc Warden and Naga. It's not too often that you see a safe lane Arc Warden go up against a safe lane Naga and compete for farm like this.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I mean, my initial hypothesis is that the Arc Warden's going to have an advantage just because of the fact that unless you catch the Arc Warden literally just standing out in the open, it's going to be very hard to kill him as compared to the Arc Warden who can spring up with a clone and hex your real hero.
Yeah, we've already talked about the Gleipnir as well, right? Like, it's just so much to deal with this Naga Siren so far.
Aster choosing to commit up here in this top side. They know someone was back there. Chasing away, nothing to say. The rest of G2.iG are converging in the area though, but I don't think this is an objective they can hold on to. Yeah, they'll just have to give that one up.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
They
attack.
might look for more here on Aster. There's no reason for them to leave this area.
Yeah.
You know,
Can
they
just
could
leave Erica down there farming while they continue to control.
Yeah. Yeah, they could, you know, stick around in this area, but it looks like they're going to go head mid and instead put pressure on this mid tower, which is fine. It works just as well, but nothing to say. Now it's time, right? If anything, now is the time with that Mage Slayer. So maybe this is what they were looking for on the side of G2.iG, but that BKB closing in for Echoes is going to be so scary.
I mean, even without the BKB, right, as of present,
Yeah.
he's just a problem to deal with. We saw, even though they managed to throw out so many spells onto him in the mid lane, one swap is all it takes. And it's... I mean, G2.iG, you can kind of tell that, you know, they would love to look for something here, but with the lineup that it's up against, this Void Spirit has been rendered relatively ineffective. Just a moment ago, you were talking about how he's top net worth. He has just completely dropped to the bottom now.
Yeah. And that's what the one kill does, right? Like, it just completely stops him. To say he's a little scared. We already saw in that top tier 1 push from Aster that nothing to say was so far back because he was so worried about getting hooked, stunned, caught out by the Arc Warden illusion.
Yeah. Tempest Double really poses a pretty significant threat at this juncture in the game because nobody really has significant items to really deal with it. I mean, later down the line, if you kind of play a little bit too carefree with your clone, it's just free gold, but for now, it's basically 6v5 situation. Shengsi being spotted up by nothing to say in this mid lane. They want to aggress, but this could be a setup. Straight in, and the Shivas onto the back line, trying to stop the swap, and the Pudge just evaporates. What else can they find now? Nothing to say, backing up. They don't know if they can deal with Echoes, and honestly, I might agree with them, but oh, they found the real Erica. Echoes has managed to finish off the line, but a beautiful swap away. Picho keeps his carry alive. Nothing to say, considering whether he wants to jump in or not, as the illusions keep them occupied on both fronts. Both teams just decide to back off after that trade 1-for-1. Going in the favor of G2.iG. They kill off the Pudge, who got a bit too close to their high ground.
And that was a lot of magic damage, right? The mines amplifying the magic damage as well as the Shiva's guard. There was no way for Pudge to live there without the Eternal Shroud.
Yeah, we literally got obliterated by the Timber, but that's kind of what the Timber does against strength heroes.
Yeah,
that's not going to change throughout this most of this game.
And now all of a sudden, you know, Pudge for a little bit there was on top of the net worth, and once again, he's all the way back down there with the Void Spirit all of a sudden.
I mean, this game is so even, right? I think at this point in time, the net worth is neck and neck as he tries and get another kill onto this Pudge. He's running forward, dropping low, and looks like he's out of resources. One more explosion, and that's all it's going to take. X-Nova finishes him off, and Picho, who came around to try and save him, gets punished for it. Frisk is the only one who can walk away. I say that, but JT, he is on the hunt right now. This Timbersaw is feeling so comfortable. Spots out Frisk, but doesn't make it to the high ground. A bit of an unfortunate tree latch. But they'll just have to settle a 2-for-nothing trade as G2.iG starting to ramp up and take advantage of their draft here.
Yeah, and that all comes down to the Shivas and the Mage Slayer, right? Like, they were just buying their time, waiting for their items, and now they've got them. They're ready to go. And all the while, Naga Siren continuing to accumulate net worth. Now, we talked about the Medusa metric last game. the Naga metrics got to be
Radiant's
somewhat
top tower
similar.
has fallen.
I don't know about that. I mean, Medusa, the key difference is that Medusa can march down the lane and end the game, where the Naga
True.
can't exactly do that in as conventional of a fashion. But what the Naga can do is what she's doing right now, which is controlling multiple areas of the map by splitting up the illusions. You can see one Naga illusion going over to the mid lane just to push that one out, but she's still farming at bot. Speaking of farm though, Echoes and Erica able to clean up that huge ancient stack before G2.iG continue to burst the area. And I mean, they've just established a little stronghold for themselves here on the left side.
I love this positioning, right? Like if any sort of hero were to rear their head out into this top lane, they would have died. And got to be careful here on the Pudge.
He's just standing around doing his due duties right now. He's like, okay, Pudge, you died 2 times. You know, you need to pay it back. You need to be on defense duty, but they don't know. That's gonna set him up for perhaps a 3rd death here. He turns around to dismember, but that's what the Hex was waiting for. And Sheng Si is going to die again. This is not a good look. You can't keep sending your Pudge out to the wolves like that.
I just don't think they expected the wards or for IG to be in this area for too long. And G2iG now all of a sudden 4K net worth lead, and the game is slowly but surely slipping away from Aster. Pudge currently only has 1 flesh heap.
Yeah, this isn't really the start that he wanted, especially after that pretty successful laning stage where he was really able to just hamper the Naga Siren. But that's kind of the issue with Pudge, right? He doesn't really... It's not like he can walk up to a lane and threaten you in a 5v5 fight. The control is still going to be enough to really work him down. He needs to be tactical with how he chooses to move and get these single target pickoffs that IG is just not giving him right now. This might be a good start though. Pull in JT, start to dismember. Do they have enough damage? The rest of G2iG are coming through, but the save is not in time. Echoes actually commits his BKB charge for that kill, showing you just how high value they put onto JT. And now they're going to pressure in this mid tower. Not much of a defense without your Timbersaw, and you'll have to give this one up.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
Yeah, I mean, we already, like, you see the Naga Siren and the Void Spear, right? They want nothing to mid lane. That's a nice little bit of recovery for Pudge, right? It's just a little bit. But
that.
any sort of core kill is very happy. Any sort of flesh heap stack, you're very happy.
Yeah. I can't imagine Chunks is too happy about the state of the game right now, though. He's a little bit behind in terms of the levels as compared to his counterparts. But,
Yeah.
you know, you just need a couple more of that. You know, get JT when he's feeling a bit too comfortable. My main concern is that they've yet to really deal with this Naga Siren just yet. She is just, I mean, apart from that initial early game kill, she is just having a whale of a time just farming the map. 289 CS already.
Jeez. And is that an Eternal Shroud on Monet build up as well? I mean, this just goes to show how important of an item Eternal Shroud is this patch.
Not just this patch, but even more in this game. Like, this game is insane in terms of the magic damage that can come out on both sides. And it's just gonna amplify Monet's survivability by such
Radiant's
a country
middle
mile.
tower is under attack.
Yeah. Absolutely. It just goes to show, right? Like, there are ways of dealing with the Shiva's Guard. You just gotta be willing to commit for it.
Speaking of commit, Chris go down, unfortunately. They swap back X-Nova as well, and Echo's able to clean up a 2-for-1 special. Both supports for 1. Not too bad as Aster able to defend their side of the map.
And the good thing about getting these support kills, as long as Pudge is in the area, he's going to get more flesh heaps. And that was the big thing, I think, is Pudge only having 1 flesh heap earlier on. It's not too good as you get, you know, into this mid to late game, or I guess just mid game. But if you go into the late game as well with 1 flesh heap, you're feeling really bad. But, you know, as this game starts transitioning, it's going to be super important for Pudge to be getting these flesh heaps and getting tankier, because he, besides the Primal Beast, is going to be the one in this front line. I guess Primal Beast, he's going to be in the enemy's back line, right?
Yeah.
As Pudge, it's your job to stand in your front line, protect your Arc Warden, and protect your supports.
We'll see whether he's able to accomplish that. Good start with the Eternal Shroud, and he can only sort of scale up from here. Sky's the limit. I mean, right now it feels like wherever he can go on the map is the limit because of how well G2.iG have just carved out the sections, using Monet to their advantage. And now straight into the Roche. I mean, they're not Aster. I am not sure whether they're aware this is happening, but they should have an inkling. And that's not really anything they can do about it as well.
Now, if they were in the area, like, they started walking towards that gate up top, smoked. if they committed and went through the gate, they maybe could have found some sort of fight, because nothing to say is nowhere near. You know, taking a 4v5 at any point in the game is going to be advantageous to you, especially when the game is so close.
Yeah, but I mean, their heroes were kind of spread out as well. They weren't all near that twin gate, so it would have been a weird, like, you know, filter in one by one into the
Yeah.
absolute meat grind of the G2.iG lineup. They just decide better of it. 3k gold lead now. The Arc Warden, you know, he's ramping up as well. He's yet to die this game. Still able to slowly amass his wealth. Looking at that Orchid next for the solo pick-off potential. Here comes G2.iG.
Radiant's
I mean, they're
bottom
feeling
tower
probably
is under
unstoppable
attack.
with this Aegis right now.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
It is on their Naga though, who is in this
Yeah.
bot side. So for this hunting party, nothing really changes. Oh, but to find Erika.
Dire's top tower is
It's like
under
they'll miss him
attack.
just barely as he's farming safely within that triangle. JT
But if they take a
leading the
fight near their
charge.
tier 2, Naga
Radiant's
Siren can just
bottom
TP in.
tower is under attack.
Yeah, or maybe who knows? Maybe she won't even need to. With this surprise move, starting the TP already, immediate hex out onto the Pudge. They stop the Vengeful Spirit as well, so no save coming out for you. And this should be easy pickings. Finger of Death and the Timber Chain just to finish him off. JT will claim that one. And exactly like you said, Monet TP's in up here as well. And they're going to start this aggressive maneuver on the top side.
Once again, any sort of number advantage you can get is going to be very good for you, and I love this move from G2.iG. Both their supports, Timbersaw, Hell, Monet's going to join the fray as well, it looks like. Down here into this bottom lane they go. They want more. They want these supports. Hell, if they can get Erika, that'd be great.
I feel like they've been wanting to get Erika for a hot minute, but he's done a great job in terms of farming in a very, very safe space on the map. Now, this one is going to spot out the aggressive maneuvers from IG. And should be able to see that there's a ward, or at least should be able to deduce that a ward was in place here. Oh, they found Fate! The ward spots him out! The tree line didn't hide him well enough, and the Shadow Demon's just gonna go down. Song is gonna catch Erika. This is the big one! You need to bring your homies in to save him, but it's a bit too late. Echoes, he's gonna try the spot as well, but nothing to say. All over the Arc Warden. They don't want none of that business. Picho, beautiful stun into the setup. The techies just melt them all. G2.iG, that is a perfectly executed maneuver. And they wipe out all four of Aster. The only one to survive is the Primal Beast.
And you Sneeze, right? This Song of the Siren able to route out the original Arc Warden, the self,
Radiant's bottom tower
being caught
has
out there.
fallen.
You know, the other nowhere near to protect. And literally the others as well. Vengeful Spirit tried her best with a swap, but that's the beauty of the Void Spirit. You just jump right in there.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what Nothing to Say was waiting for. It's as much as the saves are there, it's very telegraphed. You know what the bench is going to try for, so you just immediately jump to her prior position. Nothing to Say all over them with that newly picked up Aghanim Scepter, just silencing the back lines. It is so tricky to deal with as a support, and now they're just straight onto the high ground. This Aegis timing looking unstoppable for G2.iG.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
They're going to try for one more fight here on Aster.
Look out, Nothing to Say, but it's very easy for him to just assimilate out of there. There's the stun now, but it's on to JT, the tankiest target. And uh-oh, you presented your poor bench on the front lines. Monet, he's just standing his ground right now, able to tank out so much next to that Eternal Shot, and he isn't scared about a thing. They do manage to swap in Bobakai. Beautiful onslaught through the entire lineup of G2.iG. They do trade out the bench for it though, but Shengsi looking to drag in the Timbersaw. But is this really what you wanted? Here comes Nothing to Say, and he finished off Monet already. The last member standing again is Echoes, as Frisk is likely gonna go down as well. It's just too easy. They're too tanky. JT was able to tank in the entire kitchen sink. He tried to hide away, but at the end of the day, he still has the Eternal Shroud, and you just can't kill Monet a second time.
Even the first time, it was such a slow kill on Monet.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the Eternal Shroud. Thank you, Eternal Shroud.
Shout out
Thank
Eternal
you for
Shroud.
saving my life. Yeah, the biggest homie, Eternal Shroud. Who needs saves on your team when you have Eternal Shroud to back you up?
Yeah, buy your own safe, bro. Like that's we're in 2024. You stop relying on others. Gotta be a bit more independent. I mean, I gotta say, I love the way Nothing to Say has been navigating these fights, right? I think it's especially tricky on the Void Spirit. We saw early on, if he gets tagged up by a stray disabled, he just gets completely flattened. But itemization and just the skill usage, able to just duck and weave and avoid a lot of this trouble while still killing off the supports, stopping any save from coming in. I mean, he's been magnificent.
Dire are scanning.
And you know, when the patch first dropped, in literally like the first day I was in a Void Spirit game, and this Void Spirit was very similar to the Aster lineup. We didn't have to deal with the Void Spirit. He went for this Parasma build at the end, right? Third item for Parasma. Completely unstoppable. So much
my
damage.
gosh. Don't do it to him, nothing to say. They
Radiant's middle
they
tower
can't.
is
They
under
can't.
attack.
They're just, these supports are gonna evaporate.
Yeah.
It's not a. Okay. Well, 10 to 20 now with the 13k gold lead. This has well and truly fallen out of Aster's hands. Now there is an Arc Warden, and between the Pudge as well as the Primal Beast, there is an angle for, you know,
Dire's bottom
just
tower
enough
is under
control
attack.
to route you when you try and push high ground.
Radiant's
So
top tower
Aster
is
are by
under
no
attack.
means out of this game just yet. Picho will come forward for a sneaky Wisdom Rune steal. Just a nice bit of
Radiant's
PSP.
top
Priorities.
tower
for-
has
Yeah.
fallen.
I mean, nothing much you can do about the defense
Radiant's
anyway, so I
middle
might as well get
tower
something
is
done
under
on the map.
attack.
Okay, wonderful stuff. Just brilliant play from Pichu there.
Absolutely beautiful. Hype
That
this
was-
man up.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Radiant's
Who's doing
middle
it like him?
tower is under attack.
No one. No one.
No one right now. Yeah, I mean, they just,
Yeah.
rest of the Aster members, they are kind of resigning to
middle
having to
tower
lose
has
their
fallen.
external towers, but they kind of need to get out of here. The Hex finds the Pudge and turns. It's been a rough one for him in the past 20 minutes. Just goes down again.
And the lane started out so well for the Pudge, but it has really fallen flat recently. In the past, hell, in the past like 15 minutes, Pudge feel like he's gotten not too much done. Now that puts a lot of weight onto Echoes as well as Erica.
New X-Nova rushing that pipe is such a smart move for his team because it's the Techies doesn't farm a lot in the position 5 slot, but him prioritizing and going straight for that item means that they're geared up for this push right at this moment.
Once again, more protection from all of this magic damage from Aster. Right, and we saw, I believe, the other day Techies go for some sort of pipe build as well, so just goes to show, like, this hero is very versatile in their builds.
Yeah, he doesn't need really any items to get his main job done, which is to blast off in and do a ton of magic damage. Okay, I mean, hell, even in the previous series, we saw the Techies build a Greaves. That was something.
Yeah.
That was
Radiant
nice.
are scanning.
Yeah, not too
Helping-
much you want to purge this game, right? But the health would still be nice from the mech.
Maybe somewhere down the line, a Lotus Orb as well would be so neat for the IG lineup. There's so much just single target point and click control that you can just reflect back and nullify completely.
Yeah, absolutely. All of a sudden, Echoes, he doesn't feel too good going in at that point.
To restore
He'd have to pop his
the void
BKB
within.
nice and early.
Okay. 19k now. Genuinely feels like it's just G2.iG waiting for the next Roche to really just continue their push forward. While Aster, the space that they have to play on the map is so limited. They just have this small little pinnacle of vision that they're playing around. And that's about it. They don't really dare to walk up anywhere else.
No, I think at this point, that's really the only thing you can do is play around your one ward. I guess they have another one bottom, but that's not doing too much for them. No one's in that area.
I mean, they can just continue to... Oh, no, man, that's gonna be nasty. You're just gonna run after them. Like, all your slows don't even matter. Who even cares?
I
Radiant
like
are
this build up from
scanning.
Bobica as well, going for that Aeon disc. Just gonna make sure that he stays around. You know, if he gets swapped, doesn't matter. If he gets hooked, doesn't matter. Right? Primal Beast ult, nothing, no cares at that point.
Oh, they run into JT, which is arguably the worst hero you could ask for to break the smoke. Bobica able to blink away super quickly to avoid trouble. And just like that, this surprise move from Aster is just completely routed. Here comes JT. They dispel him, they disrupt him up, but they pull back in Shang-Tzu as well as Chris. These two don't stand a chance. Force the BKB TP out. That's the only way you get out there. But the gem immediately given up. I believe that was a fresh one as well. Not what you want, and it really feels like the doors are closing rapidly on you.
X-Nova, he did pick up that mechanism like we
Radiant's
talked
middle
about just a
tower
few
is
seconds
under
ago.
attack.
More survivability, more things to deal with. And X-Nova, he's actually in his own right kind of hard to kill.
Looking for the clone here, nothing to say, committing for it, forcing the BKB out from the Tempest double for now. But Monet still completely untouched here. You can't really do anything to the Naga Siren. It just isn't enough damage. He's able to send his illusions in, just act as a body, and as soon as that's done, disperse her out, playing it safe, respecting the respawn of the Shadow Demon.
I don't think G2.iG realized that Echoes used his BKB. I think everyone was too like focused on disengaging that they didn't quite catch that Echoes BKB'd. So you've got a little bit of a window now where Primal Beast, Pudge, they don't have their BKBs. That window was closed pretty much. Echo's 10 seconds away from that BKB. But
Yeah, he's already
still.
on the lowest possible duration. There's not much that he can do. I mean, they don't... The thing with G2.iG is they're not really in a rush, right? Roche is respawning in 32 seconds, so they can just go straight back for that. Or they could just hex out onto the poor Primal Beast, finger up, def him up, and chop him down to size. The DKB window, like you mentioned, narrowly meeting Echoes where he needed it most. Able to escape out of there with a sliver of HP, but relatively low commitment. At this point in the game, the finger of death being used isn't the biggest of deals.
Especially when everyone has Eternal Shroud, right? Like, who cares? And BKBs.
Yeah. I mean, it's just additional nuke just to try and finish the kill off, but yeah, they'll just head straight back for the Roche, potentially. I mean, they're making a beeline for it already. So, second Aegis going the way of Monet, that's gonna make him a lot more comfortable moving up towards the high ground. As the net worth is just looking so drastically in their favor. The entire net worth lead is Monet's entire existence, which is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, if you can get Monet out of the picture, but that's a big ask.
Okay. Smoke forward now. This is the game ender. This is where they want to just stamp it shut and take away this game number 1. Punish them for daring to pick Art Order in the game again. How dare you?
How dare you make us relive that?
Yeah. Okay.
And I mean, they've hit their Naga Siren timing a lot harder than they hit their Medusa timing last game.
Yeah, for sure.
Right,
I mean,
so-
Naga Siren can get out of the map, can get things done. Hex out. Erica, what are you doing there? 70 seconds, no carry. And everything you've been working for, all these defensive plays, all these saves that you pick just to keep the Outward alive, they're going to be completely moot. You have nothing to say in JT, daring someone to come up and challenge them. The hook out with the Timber Chain, it's perfectly timed, and JT avoids certain death. And honestly, even if he got hooked in there, you just song in and just wipe them out. Might have been a better case for them, but that's how it played out. Moving on to the last lane of Rags here. G2.iG, they smell the victory in front of them. Echoes gonna try and play interference, but nothing stays straight into your backline again, silencing just about everyone, forcing the BKB, but Echoes is already dead. It's too much burst from the Void Spirit as the rest of IG, they just clean up the Rags and they clean up the game. GG is called. Picho, he taps out.
Into the fountain they go. They want to clean up a few more kills before the Angels. They got the bench. G2.iG, what a great game from them, right? Like the Naga,
Yeah.
they don't care about the